Hello everyone, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, single dads taking over the role, grandmas, aunties, foster parents, anybody stepping up to raise those amazing little babies. I don't know if anybody can see, but we got some grays going on again. Can't have that. So today I'm just going to pretty much be freshening up my roots. As we can see, the ends are fine. Not really worrying about those. Just the roots. Pardon me looking like a troll. It's been a day already. So I am once again using, if you saw my last video, Wella Color Charm 10NG Honey Beige Blonde. I've done other blondes, they looked okay, but personally I feel like this one, totally my color. Trick for blondes. Always go by your skin tone. There are certain colors that work for neutral skin tones, cooler skin tones, and warmer skin tones. Also use your color wheel. And if you haven't watched him before, I recommend Brad Mondo. He's amazing. And he's funny. Love his videos. So check those out. I'm not going to be using the entire bottle because I'm not doing my whole head. And even an entire bottle for my whole head, being that my hair is short, is too much and I wind up wasting product. So we're probably going to use about half or just a little over half of this just to get these roots. I am also using Wella's 20 volume. Make sure when you're using your developers, you research 10, 20, 30, and 40 volume because some are way too strong. Some aren't strong enough for the color that you're trying to do. And research them for the color hair you have. Okay? And also research the bleaches because some are way too strong and some are weak. Me personally, I like my Ion Brilliance Cream Bleach. It lightens up to 8 levels and it works fast. Even on dark hair. Like I had hair as black as my shirt. And I used 20 volume. Normally, dark hair, you'd, get away with like 30, sometimes 40 volume. But beware, because they can really mess up your hair. I used 20 volume with it, and I went from this to this within a couple bleaches and, toning, throwing in the dye, whatever. Okay? I used one of these little bottles, okay? I get them at Sally's. Or you can find them in whatever other local supply stores you have. Sometimes you can find them in CVS, places like that, Walmart. Brad Mondo, if you see this, I'm sorry, honey, but I'm not sectioning today because I'm only doing my roots. I'm not doing the entire thing. There's methods to my madness. I have my own ways that work for me. I'm just going to put this disclaimer out there. If you follow what I do, don't blame me for how your hair comes out, okay? I am by no means a professional. I just know what works for me. Basically, if you're doing your hair at home, which Brad Mondo won't recommend, a lot of other hairstylists won't recommend because you can mess up your hair, you just got to find what works for you, love. That's all I can really say. So I'm going to start out with pouring my dye here into my bottle. So that's about half, I don't know if you can say, a little over half maybe. I don't need much because I'm only doing my roots. And then I'm just going to plop the lid back on here and use it for my next round of doing my roots. Now when you're using those types of dyes, it's a 1-to-2 ratio, so it's 1 part of the dye and 2 parts of the developer. I just eyeball it for this because, like I said, I know what works for my hair. I know what doesn't. I've been doing it for many years now. So we're just going to add it until I feel it's enough. So I'm just going to say about there. Put my cap back on here. And always wear your gloves. If it's the first time you're doing your hair, you're going to want to section it, okay? Start out, sectioning the top half if you only want to do the bottom part first. And start in the back of your hair, because these front pieces, especially, the very, very front pieces, they're a little fragile, okay? I'm not going to be doing any of that today because, like I said, I'm only doing my roots. But you want to wear your gloves, especially if you're bleaching, because it can and will burn you. And sometimes it can, stain your skin like it would any other surface. Sometimes it can cause burns, things like that. And with hair dye, you don't want to get it all over your skin. You can take Vaseline, things like that, and you can go around the edges of your face. Sally's has these amazing hair dye removing wipes that work really well. You can get those, and once you get it on your skin, just wipe it off, because you don't want to walk around looking like a tie-dye t-shirt. Okay. And a well-ventilated area, because hair dye, bleach especially, can have very, very strong fumes. So, well-ventilated area. And make sure you're wearing something you don't care about. Lay old towels and stuff down on your floor in your bathroom so you don't stain everything up. And immediately wash out your bathtub and your shower after doing your hair, especially if you're doing fun colors like red, pink, orange, because it'll stain that too. Trust me, experience. We're just going to shake it up here. And always follow the directions the first time you do anything. Sometimes, if leaving it on for the recommended amount of time isn't enough, you can leave it on an extra 10, 15 minutes and let it process just a little bit more. I also have a shower cap, because one thing about your hair, especially when you're bleaching or doing like blonde hair colors, your scalp, you want to leave for last, because it holds a lot of heat, and that's really going to develop your root area faster than your ends, okay? So you start on your ends first, let that process for a while, and then move up to your root area because of the heat. The reason for the shower cap is to hold that heat in there and to hold that moisture in there, because you don't want your dye or your bleach to dry up, because then it's going to stop working and then you have to redo it, and it's a process. It really is. So this is looking pretty decent here. And I mean, if I have to mix up more, then, I have to mix up more. It's no big deal. So I'm just going to start right up here. Go down the back. You don't want to rub it in like you're shampooing, because bleach does not lather. Hair dye really does not lather, okay? You just want to give a gentle little rub, make sure you're spreading it around. And then I just like to go like this. Make sure I'm getting enough in there. And then give a gentle little rub. Make sure, you're getting around the scalp area. Get it all in there. And these pieces, those are so fun to do because it stains everywhere. So what I like to do is pull it back tight. Get you a little bit on there. And work quick. And just make sure you're rubbing it on there like that. Okay. Or you can even get yourself brushes. They make different sizes. I have the really big one, medium-ish size, and these. These are perfect for those areas to get it in there if you don't feel comfortable using your hands. I use my brushes every now and then, especially if I don't have my bottle here and I have to use a mixing bowl. I'll use that little one and I'll stir everything up. Pardon the acne on my face. Been working on that. Not exactly sure how good it's going, but happens. And I've seen a lot of people do their eyebrows. It looks cool, it does, but please, if you're gonna do that, be extremely careful because it burns, for one, and two, you can really damage your eyes and possibly even go blind getting the hair dye or bleach in your eyes. So please use extreme caution if you're gonna do your eyebrows. And like I said, when you're doing your roots and you're putting the hair dye on, it's normal to feel that heat from your scalp activating, the hair dye. Like I can feel it already, and I only just started putting little bits on at a time. It's normal. Don't be afraid of that. I recommend also, especially if you have tattoos like I do, okay? They recommend on the boxes, doing a patch test because there could be different kinds of reactions, allergic reactions, things like that. Please do those. Don't ignore that step. Please don't. Always follow that step because you don't want to wind up trying to put something on and then realizing you're allergic and having a really nasty reaction. Not pleasant. So we're just working this in here. And do not be afraid to really get it in there and really saturate the hair, because if you don't put enough on, it's not really going to do much. It's just going to dry out and stop working. Same thing with bleach. Over saturate. If your hair doesn't look like you put a crap ton of toothpaste on your strands, you're not going to get that good of a result. Okay? Saturate it. Really, really, really saturate it. Even with your hair dye, it's better to oversaturate and make sure that you're getting it than not put enough on and then have to do it all over again. And sometimes multiple times because you're just, you're not putting enough on. Like you want to be able to just smear your hair down to your head, pretty much. Especially around the scalp area, you really want to make sure it's saturated there so that it gets underneath there, because you don't want to be putting your hair up like this and then you're missing like a whole bunch of spots under there because you didn't get enough in there. Which is why you see me going around and going like this and making sure I'm really getting it in there to get it as even as possible, because you'll be walking around looking like a cheetah or a leopard or something because you have just so many spots and patches that you missed. Especially in the back, because the back can be quite hard to see. So if, you have to ask somebody to come in and help you, no shame in that. I've had to ask plenty of times to have somebody come in and help me get the back, because I'm used to having really long hair and having to use 2 to 3 different boxes of hair dye just to even remotely, you know, make sure I was getting the right kind of coverage and enough dye in my hair to do what it needed to do. Yeah, it's definitely looking like it was going to be enough. Just make sure you're really, really getting it there. I don't do my eyebrows only for the simple fact that my eyebrows are my natural color, and this pretty much matches them almost dead on, even though I'm a natural redhead. So I don't bother doing my eyebrows. I don't find, you know, the risk to be worth it, honestly. Back behind the ears. Then you want to just lift your hair, give it a couple shakes to make your product get back down towards the little holder. And then just go around the nape of your neck there where your roots are back there. Squeeze it in there and just give it that nice little rub-a-dub. You don't need to rub really hard, just a light rub will do. And it's pretty much in there. I still have a little bit left over, so I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, use it up because I don't want to waste it. And like I said, stuff happens, so wear something that, you know, you really don't care about, because stains are going to happen. Okay, looking like we used it all. Okay. Make sure you really got it all in there. Everything is really nicely saturated. And the reason we say don't rub your scalp too hard is because you can cause a lot of friction, and that can lead to your scalp getting burned. And nobody wants that. So just a little light rub. Then you get your shower cap on there. Make sure everything is tucked up in there. Okay. Even your ears, because you want to keep this flush to your head so that those little pieces there can develop. And then we're going to let it process. Being that it's only my roots, probably about 20 to maybe 25 minutes. I don't really want to go the whole 30 or sometimes 35, 40 minutes like I would normally do, depending on how long my hair is and how much overgrowth or whatever I have. So I'm going to let it process, and then I will be back to rinse it out and show you the final look. I'm back. So I waited about a good 20 minutes or so. No more grays. Everything is a lot lighter. Goes along with the rest of the hair. So, pretty safe to say everything came out even. Don't mind the hair. I just blow dried it and haven't brushed it yet. Which brings me to my next point. After you guys have rinsed your hair out, if it's still wet and you want to brush it, be gentle because your hair is going to be a little fragile and it can break off and you'll hear it snap in your brush or your comb, trust me. Even after blow drying your hair like I did, you still want to be careful because your hair can still snap and break. So I like to move my hair out of my face, take it into 2 sections like this. And I just go through little sections and I start through on my ends and I hold it in my hand and just brush gently. And then just brush down until it's nice and smooth. And if that comes out smooth, then I will do the rest with, same method. Now, I'll give you an example of what not to do. You don't want to just brush through it because then you'll see the hair falling and you can hear it. Crunchy. You don't want that. So just nice and gentle. Brush it into the palm of your hand. You don't want a lot of unnecessary tension. You don't want a lot of hard yanking, okay? And then I move on to the next side. Nice and light. You might still hear a little bit of crunching. But like I said, nice light strokes. And start on your ends and then work from the top down. And then as far as the back goes, I just grab it all, bring it forward, and then try and do the same thing until you can just, brush it through with the rest of your hair, and it brushes out all nice. And when I say be careful because your hair can break and fall off, this is what I mean. Okay, we don't want that. You don't want to break your hair. And it will come out in your brush. Yes, you don't want that. But this is how it came out. So, thanks for coming along with me on Root Day. Hope you guys have a fantastic day and a beautiful Mother's Day. Thanks for being here.